Welcome to Collections of Cinema.
Everybody loves somebody.
Is that your new song?
Yep. Everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a new episode of Cock.
Thought we were retiring.
Collections of Cinema.
Retiring.
We're
cock.
going to make a cock shirt. Like merch. If you want to order a cock shirt, let us know.
Also, for those of you who don't know Woifi personally, he's like the king of bullshit. So, and I actually am not joking. On a daily basis, I would say at least once a day, he bullshits me with something, and he says it so seriously with such
Acting.
Sure, let's call it acting.
It is acting.
It's not really.
It is acting.
Boy who cried wolf.
That's it.
It.
If you want to support us, yeah, that's our what is it called? Cold open. If you want to support us, head over to our Patreon page where you can support us. We still have only one Patreon member, which is Joe. Hey Joe.
Hi Joe.
Thanks for supporting us. And if you want to know what's up, head over to our Threads or Instagram.
If you want to know what's up.
Right.
You want to know what's up?
What's up, man? And if you are not subscribed yet, or if you have not subscribed on either Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever, then please do that. Also, please leave a like and a comment if you can, or want, or will, or must.
Sure.
Yeah. Today we are talking about a movie that is older called The Green Mile.
Older. Last week we also watched a movie from the 90s, right?
I know.
So.
The Green Mile, 1999. It's the 4K disc, and I have to say,
it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite 4K discs so far. That fucking restoration, what they did on the original film is beautiful.
Do you know how they do that?
They take the original. I mean, I assume it was shot on 35 millimeter, and they basically scan the original negatives, and then sometimes, I mean, not with this case I assume, but sometimes they just scan them and blow them up on 4K.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they use a little AI to get back resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's a shot that was not like, with 35 millimeters, and back then some shots just weren't super focused, like super sharp, and it didn't really matter, but nowadays it kind of does, and sometimes they help a little bit with AI. Okay. But yeah, it was remastered in 2022, and if you have a 4K Blu-ray player, I highly recommend that movie on 4K.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. So it came out in 1999. It was directed by Frank Darabont. Danielle did not know. She's like, who is that? I don't know. So Frank Darabont, I mean, people who know movies know Frank Darabont. He was the screenwriter for Nightmare on Elm Street 3. The Blob, The Fly 2, okay, good. But The Shawshank Redemption, he directed. I mean, one of the greatest movies ever made. The Green Mile, The Mist from 2007. Mm-hmm. The one with the bleakest ending ever.
What was the ending of that one?
I mean,
yeah. No, I remember.
Yeah.
Oof.
He developed and
Very
executive produced the first season of Walking Dead. So he basically is responsible for one of the most successful zombie series ever. And
I mean, honestly, the best season of the show, I would say.
Yeah.
The
first season is pretty amazing. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, The Green Mile. Came out 1990. I already said that. 60 million budget. And the box office was a smash hit with 268.8 million.
Wow.
I mean, granted, 60 million is not that much because simply it was at the prime location is just one prison and one room, technically, in the prison.
But there's still a lot of like flashback stuff. There's a lot of
but still it's kept very simple.
There's still a lot of CG stuff that they had to
that's
do.
True. The mouse.
And,
Tom
Not just
Hanks,
the mouse, but the
David Morse, Bonnie Hunt, Michael Clark Duncan's breakout role, James Cornwell and Sam Rockwell in an amazing role. Harry Dean Stanton in a little role. Yeah, a great fucking cast.
Yep.
I have to say. And it's a tearjerker. I cried multiple times, I have to say.
Yeah.
Mainly because of Mr.
Jingles.
Mr. Jingles. Do you want to go into the plot?
Yes. So it starts in, I would say, kind of a Notebook-esque beginning.
Right, yeah. Kinda.
You know, where just that kind of classic, like, I mean, I feel like there were a lot of movies around that time that had a very similar
Yeah, for sure.
setup. But it's just like, it starts in like a retirement home, and there's an old man there, and like with a group of other old people, and they're watching a movie, and he breaks down and starts crying. And when he leaves the room, a woman goes with him, and they just sit, and she was, you know, asking him if he was okay and what was going on and if the movie triggered something. And then he starts telling her this story and about how he was a prison guard.
Yep.
In the 1930s?
For 1930s and 40s, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And how there was one inmate in particular who like really had an effect on him, and it was just kind of the story of how that inmate came to them and what he had done and how he kind of changed all of their lives.
Yeah.
That's the setup.
Right. I mean, it's set in the south of America. I don't know where exactly, but it's the south. So
I feel like they said it some.
Yeah, they said it, but
I don't remember.
But yeah. So naturally,
but they have very southern accents. Somewhere deep south.
Naturally, there is a lot of racism. Racism is a big part of the movie, and just the whole prison system is mainly black people. You see that a lot. Them working on the fields and whatever they do.
Although I will say on like death row, because he worked on death row, and on death row he was the only black inmate.
Yeah, and a French American guy, and an American. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Michael Clark Duncan plays John. What's his name?
John Coffey.
John Coffey.
Spelled differently.
Like the drink, but spelled differently. And Michael Clark Duncan was one of like the best character actors, I would say.
Brilliant.
He was so fucking good in that movie.
Brilliant.
Incredible work. And he basically had like,
I would argue his performance was better than Tom Hanks, and that's hard.
I agree. He has like those healing abilities in the movie where he can heal or even bring back people or things from the dead.
Yeah.
And he also has this empathetic ability where he can feel trauma, pain from other people, even if they're further away.
Yeah.
And by that, he tried to save 2 children who got murdered, but he couldn't. And naturally, they found him with the 2 bodies.
Him with the 2 children.
And so he gets put into prison and directly into death row.
All of that's not really discovered. It's a kind of a slow burn in a great way. The movie's 3 hours long, and I feel like it could be longer. It's one of those movies, it doesn't feel like it's 3 hours long.
Yeah. The pacing is so well done.
There's maybe one point where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of ready for it to come to an end, but then all of a sudden it's like, I don't know, all of a sudden you get this feeling like, oh, it could keep going now.
Yeah.
But it's paced very well for a 3-hour movie.
Yep.
And the slow burn is kind of cool because the first time that you see him like use these healing powers, you're not really sure what happened. It's very like mythical almost, and very like
it's magical.
And you're left with no answers. And they kind of almost brush past it, I would say. Like, it's almost as if it didn't happen. But I kind of liked that they did it that way.
I mean, it's very Stephen King. The movie is based on a Stephen King book. And Stephen King also uses...
It is, but it isn't. Like, it's very different from
But he uses a lot of magic things in his movie. Sometimes it's not explained. Sometimes he explains it because it's a thing from another world or something. Even Dreamcatcher, for example. But for
someone who's seen as like a horror... novel writer.
Yes and no.
really, I think it's a really cool direction
Yeah,
to go,
yeah.
and it works well for
Yeah,
him because it still has those elements of like, whoa,
Yeah.
like what the fuck,
Yeah.
and kind of the elements of there's some thrilling elements, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
and I guarantee, I want to read the book, but I guarantee that the scenes in like um, the electric chair. I
Oh, yeah,
guarantee
yeah,
that
yeah.
the way that they're written is horrifying because even
Yeah,
the way that it was shown was pretty
Yeah.
horrifying.
Yeah.
So he has definitely got away with words in terms of describing horrific events.
Yeah. So yeah, basically he gets wrongfully accused of murder, gets sent to death row, and essentially he's the last inmate on the Green Mile that Tom Hanks's character Paul Egg-Comp, whatever his name is, puts to death there. That's essentially the story. And through John Coffey's compassion and necessity of helping people, he also helps other people in the and outside of the prison, and essentially helps a lot of people to believe in something bigger.
Yeah.
And I really like that message
not,
too.
Like believing everything you hear, like there's this kind of underlying theme or topic, I guess, that's more like, okay, just things aren't always as they seem. Like just because it might look this way, that doesn't mean it is this way. And to just not ask questions, which is basically what happened. That's the reason why he was on death row. Nobody asked questions. They just assumed this is what happened, and nobody thought to even do any type of investigation into it. Like, I mean, they alluded to it when he went to go talk to I don't know if it was the arresting officer, the guy who plays Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump.
So Gary Sinise, yeah.
Yes, thank you. They kind of alluded to the fact that like he looked into it, but I feel like they didn't look into the murder, but they looked into if he had any previous like priors,
And since he was a loner, he had no home, he fit into the profile kind of, and they just said, fuck it. Frank Darabont said that John Coffey represents those extraordinary visionary souls that come along in human history from time to time that the rest of us feel compelled to exterminate. I've always found it extraordinary that we just can't seem to accept the message of peace and love. It's not such a crackpot notion, but whenever somebody comes along with who embodies that notion, we have to nail him to the cross, we have to shoot him, we have to kill him. And also Michael Kleckner said the same thing. John Coffey stands for everything that's right in the world, like all the good, all the love, all the positive things. And sometimes in this dark world or in this sinister world, we just are not ready to accept that and embrace it. We have to. Some people are, but the majority is not. And the majority, in the end, when he gets killed, still wants to see him as like dead as possible, more or less. The movie itself is mainly like, sure, there are parts with the flashbacks. The it's not flashbacks technically. The flashback is the main story. There are the two free scenes in the present time with the old him, and then the flashbacks, and then also outside of the prison. But the main movie is in the Green Mile in the prison, and it feels very much like a play at times.
Absolutely,
because there are those certain characters. They come again, and you know from the start that okay, those are the good guys, those are the bad guys, and then there is also Sam Rockwell, Bill
so
Wharton. He's a fucking disgusting, vile asshole, but he's so funny in the movie.
He's so funny,
and he just nails this complete lunacy and just crazy character. Like, and he's not like, you don't hate him at first. You kind of
you don't hate him
funny
until you realize why he's there.
Right, and then at the end you really hate him. But then there's also Michael Cheater, Edward de la Roy, the Percy, the French.
So not Percy's that's not the French.
No,
guy.
but the French guy
Percy's
who Del,
the officer, the asshole officer.
Yeah, not Del. Del is the French guy who basically befriends the mouse. And we have to talk about the mouse. The mouse is also a central character in the movie. So
I mean, without the mouse, I mean, there might have been another way that the other officers would have seen something,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the mouse was the invitation into, hey, look what this guy can do,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to really make all the other officers see, okay, this is
Yeah,
not
I
a
mean,
bad
Tom
person.
Hanks got healed by him, and
Yeah.
so he was the first to witness this miracle and
Yeah.
to believe in his powers.
Mm.
And then the mouse gets killed, and that's like the famous scene that you know from pop culture. And then John Coffey takes the mouse in his hand and just starts glowing, and then the mouse is back, Mr. Jingles.
Mr. Jingles.
And he's so fucking cute. The mouse is
He's
so
so
fucking
cute.
cute. Like, we had rats.
Mm.
5 rats total over a couple of years.
4 years, 5 years.
And rodents are just very cute little
They are.
smart things, and the mouse clearly got trained and it does tricks, and it's just the cutest thing. And kind of you can see it like in this prison that is just made out of concrete and just man-made things, that there's no like earth, dirt, there's no sense of the outside world, of nature, of something natural. The mouse is the only connection to the outside world. The mouse is the thing that, you know, is wild, comes, goes, and just brings this outside world into this prison cell, in prison ward, kind of. And it's kind of beautiful, because it's a central character, and it's a very important character, because in the end, it also gets powers from John Coffey when he dies. The mouse gets a little powers, and the mouse outlives everybody too. Same with Tom Hanks's character, and I don't know, it's kind of cool. I like the arc of the mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's very sweet when, sweet. It's very sad when
really sad.
the inmate dies, gets killed, and the way he dies, and the mouse.
And how
is
he says goodbye to the mouse.
Yeah.
And it's really sad.
It's really sad. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I liked too about the movie is the way that the officers most of them were portrayed. Like the officers who worked on death row, they had so much compassion. Especially Tom Hanks's character, but the other older officer too was also so compassionate with these inmates. It's like they have probably done most of them have done these horrible things, with the exception of John Coffey. But they've done horrible things, and as long as they're, staying in line, and they're, not like Sam Rockwell's character acting out all the time, they're very compassionate with these and treating them like humans who have feelings, and before they die, essentially, like the day before, the day of, they're like extra compassionate with them, and they're just trying to give them some sort of hope for the afterlife, or I like the way that they're portrayed, because I assume that it's not like that.
No, it's really nice, because they see that, okay, these are human beings. This is their last resort before they get put down, or put on the chair and get killed for things they have done or maybe have not done. And even the French guy who has done something horrible, I don't know if they allude to that. I think he killed somebody.
I don't think they ever said explicitly what he did.
He was a super sweet guy, and he said it was an accident. He didn't mean to, he would take it back if he could.
I don't know if he said it was an accident.
No, it was not an accident, but
I regret it, and I would, if I could go back, I wouldn't.
So they're very not Sam Rockwell's character, he's the exception, but all the others are very humanely portrayed, and okay, those are people, they have done something bad, like really bad, but they're still people, and I really like that aspect about the movie. And also the Tom Hanks's character, his older version says that he has done this for a while, but John Coffey's death was his last one, and that alone, it shows, it portrays the side of the guards who have to execute those people, who have to follow those instructions, say the right things, do the right things, and then kill the person, execute them. And the electric chair is not a fun way to go, I assume. I think it's still very painful, and it's not a quick way. It's not done. It takes a little bit. And it just is portrayed.
It's a torture device.
Right, it's a torture device, and it's horrible. It's fucking horrible. Yeah, and I like that aspect. And obviously, it's a very like there are some very grim scenes in the movie, especially one that is not easy to watch. But it's still, I think, it shows the brutality and the inhumane way of that alone. Like, there's never. I feel like the movie doesn't really raise the question of, are we better? Does it raise the question? I don't know. Does it raise the question of, are we better than those people if we...
I feel like it does.
It kind of does, though, right? It kind of raises... I don't know if it does it in a subtle way.
Or at least it raises the question of just because somebody... Like, if somebody does bad things, does that make them a bad person?
Right.
I think that question is more prevalent.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you saw with the French guy, clearly he did something horrible. I assume he killed somebody.
Yeah.
But you see this extremely sweet, humane, beautiful side to him. Yeah. And the same with John Coffey. He didn't do anything wrong, obviously, but you know, he's been treated as if he had done something wrong, and he's still this very sweet, lovable human. And then on the other side of it, you see these prison guards. Yeah. One of them who's an utter asshole and shows no remorse for anything, treats them like shit, is just an awful human being. Yeah. And he's in charge of he's like running things like that. So I think it shows two sides of it. Yeah. Where you can do bad things and still be a good person. Yeah. And you can also do bad things and be a person in power, and nothing happens to you. Yeah. Because even Percy, at some point they were going to essentially protect him and not say what he was doing, because they just wanted him out. Yeah. They didn't want him to work there anymore. So they were like, if we say something, we don't know what's going to happen, but
could blow
what
up
stays
in our
on
faces,
what happens in the mile stays on the mile.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It just goes to show there's a lot of it's still very relevant, I feel like.
No, totally. And the literature is still being used not as a main thing, but as a backup. In
some southern states,
yeah, it's crazy. Frank Darabont adapted the novel in under 8 weeks.
Wow.
The film was shot on the Warner Hollywood studio lot, and in Shelbyville, Tennessee, in Blowing Rock, North Carolina, and also in the Tennessee State Prison that was not being used anymore. Mm-hmm. And Tom Hanks was the first choice for Darabont, and also Stephen King. Stephen King said that he envisioned Hanks in the role and was very happy when Darabont mentioned his name as well. Mm-hmm. And Hank was originally supposed to be also the elder guy, but the makeup tests didn't really make him look credible enough, and so they casted an old guy. Mm-hmm. Michael Clarke Duncan, interestingly, that was his first massive role. Everybody knew him after that movie, but he credited his casting to Bruce Willis, that he worked with on Armageddon a year earlier, and Willis basically introduced him to Darabont. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of cool. And David Morse had not heard about the script until he was offered the role, so he had no idea. Mm-hmm. He stated that he was in tears by the end of reading it. It's kind of cool.
Two kind of interesting trivia things.
And one more thing, Josh Brolin was considered for the role of Wild Bill Wharton.
Oh, I'm glad it wasn't Josh
Brolin.
Brolin.
No, thank God. I mean,
I feel like he would have been okay, cool, but I don't know. That character seemed too
crazy.
Yeah. I'm sure he would have done it perfectly fine, honestly. But I don't know. After seeing Sam Rockwell in that role, I feel like there is nobody else that could play, and it was just so well done. Yeah. According to one of the DVD features on the DVD, Stephen King called this film the single most faithful adaptation of his work. Okay, that's really cool. I feel like I read or I heard somewhere, somebody on a podcast or something, that Stephen King doesn't usually like the movies that come from his work, and so that's a big thing. And for the emotional scenes, Michael Clarke Duncan, who plays John Coffey, would recall his father leaving him as a child. So he really pulled some serious stuff to get those emotions, and it fucking worked because his emotion felt so real to me. It felt so real. Yeah.
Um,
Tom Hanks treated the entire crew to a meal every Friday night on set.
that's kind of cool.
Tom Hanks is so cool.
They used multiple mice
I was just gonna say that.
for different scenes, and they were trained, so they were highly specialized animals.
Each one was trained for different tricks, so they
Exactly.
had to use different mice.
Yeah.
15 different mice were used.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
At around 1 hour and 35 minutes, Tom Hanks wasn't pretending to wipe his jacket. The mouse really did poop on him in the scene. So that scene where he kind of like brushes off his shoulder. That's funny.
There is another, I already said it, The Shawshank Redemption, also directed by Frank Darabont, also screenplay by Frank Darabont, and also a Stephen King adaptation or a book. First, that movie came out in 1994. Maybe we do that at some point. I love The Shawshank Redemption. And interestingly, it's also set in a prison, has some similar traits. It's not the death row, but it has some similar topics, themes about it. But yeah, it's also a great movie set in the prison. And arguably, IMDb, I think, is still listed one of the best top 100. I think it's top 10 still. And I agree, it's one of the best movies that, I would recommend everybody watching at some point.
I have two more.
Yeah.
Coffee's bed was built shorter in order to make him look even more like a
Bigger,
giant.
oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's massive. He's a big guy, but they wanted to make it look even more so. And this is actually another reason why Tom Hanks is so lovely. So Michael Clarke Duncan was uncomfortable with having to grab Tom Hanks's crotch for the scene where he cures his urinary tract infection. Hanks left the set and came back to do the scene. Duncan grabbed Hanks's crotch and was shocked to discover that he had put an empty water bottle in his trousers. After that, Duncan felt more comfortable with the scene. So he's just like did it. I don't know if he kept it there, but it kind of seems like he did it to make him laugh, to make him feel more comfortable, because it probably made like a crunching sound, I guess.
I mean, it's it can be awkward like that, things like that. Yeah. And also, I mean, he had his hand on his crotch for a while, so different takes, different angles.
Pretty long, pretty long period of time.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Let's go to movie of the week. Yeah, we didn't watch that many movies since we watched Sleepers a week ago. We didn't watch a lot of movies. We watched Mission Impossible 2. Yeah. And The Birdcage.
That's it.
That's it. We watched a lot of shows.
Didn't we watch something with Martin and Margaret?
No.
Sure, they came over and watched a movie.
Yeah, we watched. What did we watch with them? Sleepers. Yeah.
Oh, that was Sleepers that we watched with them. Wow. I mean, obviously
Birdcage,
but can we just mention Mission Impossible 2?
Sure.
I love it. I mean, both of us have said we love all of the Mission Impossible movies, but 2 is arguably the worst. Campy.
It's arguably the worst.
The best you made.
It's
so campy,
so
and
bad.
it's so cringy,
but
and
it's so fun.
Wonderful.
It's a lot of fun.
Like in all the best ways. Like, it's a really fun movie. Yeah. There's so much fire and slow motion and like weird music. And
I mean, the music, like the score,
the music
I really
is
like.
Great, but like in the scenes where it's like the slow motion scenes, and
but
then
that's
it's
the
like
score. Yeah, that's the score. That's the Hans Zimmer score. I really like that score.
I like it, but it's
weird. Yeah,
it's so funny. I love it so much. That movie's phenomenal, and if you have not seen it, watch it. It's so cringy.
It's John Yoo.
There are some really great lines, like some really great one-liners. Movie of the week is Birdcage.
Yeah. Birdcage, we watched it yesterday. 1996, Mike Nichols, who is also known for The Graduate. And it's such a sweet movie.
It's so good.
It's Robin Williams, Gene Hackman, Nathan Lane, Diane Wiest, Hank Azaria. And essentially it's Robin Williams' character is married with Nathan Lane.
Not married, but
together
partners,
they're partners, and they have like this club in Florida, like this drag club. Mm-hmm. And his son comes and he's like, you need to meet the parents from my daughter because we want to get married.
My
and
fiance.
I'm sorry, fiance.
You need to meet the parents of my daughter so we can get married.
That's stupid. Yeah, fiance is girlfriend essentially, and Gene Hackman is the father, and
he's a conservative senator,
Republican senator. Yeah. And that alone is already a problem.
There's already so many relevant things, like so many relevant things today, which for me is crazy to think, that movie came out when?
96.
96. Okay. Yeah. We're watching a lot of movies from the 90s. The movie came out in 96, and all of those things, all of the issues that they're talking about are 100% still happening right now. So that's fun. But Nathan Lane fucking carries that movie.
So fucking funny in the movie. And also Robin Williams, funny. He's so good. Robin Williams is like in that movie, he shows his range because he's not like overly gay. That's Nathan Lane. Nathan Lane is the typical, I'm so gay, gay guy.
I also like that they wrote gay characters who were not like stereotypical gay.
No, exactly. But Robin Williams,
especially in the 90s,
plays it so nuanced. Like he plays it so nuanced. Like the way he moves and just the way he talks. But then he turns like they have to act straight for the
manly,
masculine.
That scene is so fucking good.
And the way he just like hits those notes so well, and then also the way he is with Nathan, and then he meets his ex-wife or his ex-girlfriend, and then he also kind of switches
it off. Yeah,
right. He turns it off.
I mean, for me, it feels like maybe they're trying to portray him as bisexual.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. Yeah.
Because he clearly still has the way that he's written. It's not an act how he is with her. He clearly still has something for her.
Yeah.
So, but it's really well done, and I also like that. I mean, the thing is the fact that Nathan Lane was part of it because he is a gay man. So the fact that he was part of it and praises that movie also tells me that it was a very welcoming place for there are very stereotypical,
but there's a lot of drag in there
like the way that Hank Azaria plays his character is your very stereotypical 90s gay man.
He's so funny.
But he's so fucking good. He's so good. But it also, I feel like there are movies that do that where it feels offensive, and there are movies that do it where it's very clear that they're doing it in a respectful way that's funny, and that,
The thing is, the joke is not, they're gay. That's not
right.
They are never the joke.
Yeah.
So
their mannerisms are the joke a little bit, but it's not really specific to this is just
they're just quirky guys. It has nothing to do with their sexuality. The only thing I really don't like about the movie is the son, who basically sets up the whole problem in the first place. But he's like the way. The thing is, I know why they did it, because they needed.
There needs to be that, because there needs that.
And it was a play
for
first,
the ending. So. It needed to be
right.
It needed to be the tension, I guess, and then the discovery of I don't have to hide this.
His character, like he basically does a 180 in one night. He's like, at first he's like, no, you need to be straight, and then 2 hours later he's like, oh no.
Yeah, for context, he needs his dad, or he wants his dad to pretend that he's not gay.
Yeah.
And he lies about his profession, he lies about his sexuality, he lies about, they completely change the inside of the house to make it not look gay.
Yeah.
So they take like all the artwork out and all, they just have to, I mean, it's a silly, rom-com 90s.
And it was a play first, so it makes sense because it feels like a stage production. It kind of feels like, this is all this one room or house, and it makes sense. And also in a play, you can exaggerate way more even.
Yeah.
And in
film, the thing is, I feel like the way that his character is written is fine, and I think all of that is still doable. You can still do that today because it is relevant. It is things like that, but I wish that there were a little more pushback. That's what I was wanting. I wanted more pushback from Rob Williams' character. And Nathan Lane kind of brought the pushback because he refused to back down, and he was just like, okay, then I'll play the mother. But I don't know.
Nah, sure. Yeah. But the thing is, for the movie, for the story, it kind of needed to happen. So yeah,
it's great.
Letterboxd reviews for The Green Mile. Yeah, 4.5 stars. The movie is literally centered around murderers, and yet I still hate Percy more than any other character ever.
Right?
Percy's one of the shit guards, and yes, I agree. I hated Percy more than I hated.
I agree.
The killer of the 2 kids.
I agree.
Like, the thing is, obviously, I mean, you don't have any, like, they don't really. There's one scene where you see how who killed the kids, but you don't see why, and you don't have obviously no connections to the kids, so the kids are not as emotionally attached to you. But Percy's such a fucking piece of shit. Like, he embodies all the bad things of humanity, and yeah.
Mr. Jingles snubbed for best supporting actor.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best spent 3 hours of my life. Yeah, I agree. It's a very, very good movie. It's a very well paced movie.
There was a Percy thing. Wow, Percy must be a real piece of shit for me to hate him more than several murderers.
Yep. I mean, yeah. Yeah, totally. He's so well written in a sense that you just hate his guts. The way he talks, the way he
everything.
Like, doesn't give a shit about those people. The way he just is there because he knows people, and he's also just there as a stepping stone. He is not there because he cares. He's not there because he, like, there's no reason for him to be there other than, oh, this is a stepping stone and it will be gone soon.
Okay, this is kind of an interesting comment.
Yeah.
Wait, does John Coffey have The Shining?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
That's kind of a cool.
Shining is similar, yeah, sure. Like
cool. I like that.
Yeah. That's funny. Here's my alignment test for rodents in film. Remy from the Pixar Ratatouille. Neutral good. Stuart Little, neutral evil.
I saw that one too. The
rat from 1917 who blows up the bomb, chaotic evil. Mr. Jingles, chaotic good. Yeah. No, it's a great movie. That's it, everybody. If you want to support us, please head over to our Patreon, as I already said. If you want to suggest a movie, you can do that either on our Instagram, just hit us up, or you can go to our website. Yes, we have a website, and you can put in a number, and then we choose that number for our next movie. That's kind of fun. And please leave a comment on either Spotify or YouTube, and a like, obviously, on YouTube for sure, and subscription if you have not subscribed yet. That's it.
That's it.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.